Hello friends, welcome to my channel Bhaskara Uvacha, and I am your host Bhaskara. Friends, in this episode, I will discuss one interesting fact with you related to placements of planets in the horoscope, that sometimes the same placement and the same kind of yogas can have both the positive as well as the negative effects in the life of the person. So here you can see on your screen a horoscope with Libra Lagna. Sun and Mercury are placed in Libra in the first house. Here it is North Indian horoscope, and the same horoscope is presented in the South Indian format. To give the a background for this person whose horoscope it is, this horoscope belongs to a person who is working as a professor of chemistry in a top university in India, and he is a very learned person. He has done his master's from one of the IITs in India, and then he went to USA for doctorate, PhD, and then he worked for some time in the USA, and then he came back to India, and he is now working as a professor in some top university in India. So when we begin to examine someone's horoscope, we always begin with the first house. So first house is the person himself, his overall life, quality of his overall life, and his basic intelligence and everything related to the overall life and personality of the person. So that is first house. It is Libra in the first house, and the Lord of Libra is Shukra. So Shukra, who is the Lord of the Libra sign, is also the Lord of first house. So he becomes the manager of the first house. So who will be managing the overall life of the person? Of course, Shukra. Who will be the source of uh, overall intelligence that this person possesses? That is again Shukra. So, Shukra is kind of the primary uh, driver, being the Lord of Lagna. So, if Shukra has all the resources available to him to support Lagna, the person is going to do well in life. If Shukra does not get all the resources in the house where he is placed, then the person may not do well in life because Shukra will not be able to manage the Lagna. That means the overall life of the person well. So Shukra is placed in the second house. Now that second house, which is Scorpio sign, is ruled by Mangal. So Mangal is the ruler. Mangal or Mars. Mars is the ruler of the second house. And that Mars is looking at the second house. So it is like, Mangal being the sign dispositor of Shukra, and the house ruler where Shukra is placed is landlord of Shukra. So landlord is looking at the house where Shukra, the Lagna lord, is placed. So since landlord Mangal is looking at this house, so he will manage this house well. Who? Mangal. So if this house is managed well, that means this person whose Lagna Lord is placed in the in the second house will, no, the Lagna Lord will have all the resources available to him to support the Lagna. So the person will overall do well in his life. It's very easy to understand. That is one factor. The second factor is that how this person became a professor. Because first of all, of course, looking at the placement of Lagna Lord, we can say that this person's life in some way will be connected to speech and research. Second house, eighth house axis is activated anyway. In the second house also, the eighth sign Scorpio is placed. So Lagna Lord is placed in eighth sign Scorpio and in the second house. And he is looking at eighth house from his placement there. So research, etc., he will do in life. So he is a professor, a very senior professor, and he guides others to do research under him. So those things are there. And of course, As a professor, speech is a very important, you know, tool for him because he has to give lectures in the classroom. Now, what are the other factors that tell me that he can become a professor? So there is Mercury placed in the Lagna, very close to Lagna degree. Lagna degree is 22, Buddha is placed at 26 degree. So Mercury is very close to the Lagna degree and placed in Lagna. Normally, what people think that career direction is decided by only 10th house, which is wrong. Career direction cannot be much different from the life direction, and life direction is first house. So uh, there would be a strong influence on career of what kind of factors are affecting the first house also. So when you want to see what kind of career a person will have, don't just look at their 10th house. You also need to look at their first house. So what planet is placed in the first house? Mercury. Mercury is the planet of learning, teaching, and students, young people. And Mercury is ninth house ruler. So again, teaching, working as a teacher, and university culture also. Ninth house is the house of university education. So this person's life is connected to Mercury and ninth house related things. Mercury Sun are forming Dhana Yoga. Mercury is ninth house ruler, Sun is 11th house ruler. So Mercury and Sun are forming Dhana Yoga in the first house. So this person is capable of earning well through his own efforts. Anyway, his Lagna Lord is placed in the second house of wealth and supported by the second house ruler. So he is capable of earning well and he is earning well also. Now these same factors, how we just spoke of all the positive things related to these placements and factors, but now look at this from other perspective. We all know that Shukra doesn't do very well in Scorpio sign, and now Shukra is also seen by Mars from the seventh house. Now Mars is enemy of Shukra, Mars is enemy of Venus. Now Mars is looking at second house and looking at Shukra or Venus. Don't you think Mars will also afflict Venus? Who is Venus? Venus is Lagna Lord. So this person is under the gauge of Mars. So he will have the feeling of being hugely restricted of his personal freedom. It is possible. Mars can keep him in a stressful and very pressured kind of scenario most of the time. And who is Mars? Mars is the seventh lord also. So it is possible that the spouse of this person can have a very uh, restrictive influence on this person. It is possible that Mars being the seventh lord in the seventh house and retrograde, it is possible that there can be lots of fights and quarrels in marriage, and that can be having a very bad influence or a very restrictive influence or very stressful influence on this person. Now, Lagna Lord in the second. Normally and ideally, this person would have always liked to be connected to his family of birth, but it is possible that after marriage, that can become very challenging for him. He may not be able to have that kind of active connection because restrictive uh, gauge of Mars is falling on Shukra in the second house, and Shukra is placed in the domain of Mars. So Shukra cannot act freely also and rebel against Mars also because Mars is anyway the landlord of Shukra. He is lord of the second house also. So so that challenge can be there. So initially we saw that Mars looking at second house was ensuring that second house works well. So Shukra had all the resources of the second house available to him, like he had money, he had family support. So all those things were available to him when he was a student, and he learned well because, of course, without money you cannot study well, you cannot go to America for doing your doctorate. So all those things were available to him. Family was also supportive. But after marriage, things changed. Seventh house got active. Now he has become a professor, and now he is not able to pay back to his family in terms of taking care of them, because wife has a very restrictive energy. Wife is trying to control him, and she is capable of controlling him because Mars is looking at the second house as second house ruler. So Venus cannot go against Mars, because you cannot do anything against the landlord of the house where you are living. That's a common logic. Now, again, another thing, we saw that Sun Mercury, of course, making Buddha Aditya Yoga in the first house, and Mercury being ninth lord, Sun being 11th lord. So, all those are good yogas, and we have already discussed the positive aspects of it. But now, if you look at it, Sun is debilitated in Libra and placed in the first house. So, now that this can also become a central part of his life, that he can compromise on his ego, compromise on his self-respect for the sake of peace, for the sake of harmony, for the sake of larger good. And maybe it can be related to 1/7 axis. So peace in marriage, peace in his personal relationship. Anyway, Libra sign is there. So for ensuring peace with other people in his life, he may have to compromise on his uh, self-respect sometimes. So again, that is a challenging thing. So Sun Mercury yoga is good, but Sun Mercury yoga, in the sense of Sun being in debilitation sign in the first house, is also challenging. So we can say the same placement can have challenging effect as well as good effect. And one more thing, we can see that fourth 10th house ruler Moon is placed in the 10th house. That is a very good thing. He will have good career success seen by Jupiter. So of course that is again supportive of him becoming a teacher, a university professor. So that is uh, getting repeated, that ninth lord is in the first house, and then 10th house is also seen by Jupiter. So both the Lagna as well as the 10th house both has both have the same kind of energy. So he went into academics and he became a professor. So I hope, friends, you enjoyed watching this episode, and you can understand that how the same placement, the same yoga in horoscope can have both the positive as well as the negative effects in the life of the person. For getting a reading from me, you can always write to me on my email, which is cosmicbond7@gmail.com. I will write my email address in the comment in the description of this video also, so you can go and see the email address from there as well. So God bless you all. Subscribe to my channel and keep watching the videos I upload. So I hope you all enjoyed. Good luck and God bless.